so much for all of you to be here and to share with me this presentation today. I will want to talk to you about the gift of health. So first, I will going to be giving a lot of information, so I don't want you guys to feel so overwhelmed. If anybody wants to have the presentation, I will email it later. And if you guys want to have some notes or, just take a pen so you can write your questions. And then when I'm done, then we can have a space for some Q&A. And where can I just, one second. Sorry about this. Can I send you the presentation because I'm not able to see my speaker notes? So let me just, what is your email, Andrea? Andrea? Can you hear me?
Karen, you can email me at amini50@gmail.com.
1 second.
Okay, and you can
50@gmail.com. Yeah, got it.
Or info@pw.
No, I got it. Okay, there.
There we go. Karen, why don't you begin just telling the ladies a little bit about yourself and WILDFIT, going off your current notes.
So
get the presentation up.
Yeah, I've been getting certified as a health coach for Mind Valley, which is a online platform where they have different courses in personal development and also a little bit of business and spirituality and those sort of things. So I just got my certification as a health coach with them, or the holistic coach, you can say. And then I also became a WILDFIT coach 2 years ago, pretty much. And we will talk a little bit about the philosophy around all of these, but basically what I wanted for this presentation was to give you girls, ladies, some strategies and some different tools, and also a little bit of knowledge on different areas that are important to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So this is pretty much around like lifestyle. And so, yeah. Basically, what I do is that I run different workshops, like challenges is what it's called, monthly, and I am the support coach. I help them with the with managing the Facebook groups, with all of the psychology part of the struggles with the with the resistance to do any changes and things like that. We have Zoom sessions. It's really interactive, and there is a lot of support for everybody, depending on the learning styles and the goals and all that. So let me know when you're ready, Andrea. Okay, a second.
Okie dokie.
Yay.
Give me an indication of when you can see the presentation.
It's loading, but it's coming. Okay. So I called it the gift of health because of what I was saying. I wanted to give you ladies practical tools And I also want to give you guys a gift, everybody who joined. And we're in the holidays and all that. So what I first want to start is what, can we go to the next, with the baseline of health. So there are certain things that guides, especially with organizations, of what, you know, the health should be of the people. Can you go to the next? So if we talk about the Center for Disease Control, and I want you ladies to also start answering these questions on your mind, right? And see how assessed your health and your lifestyle. So when we talk about they assessed your health, your lifestyle under 4 aspects. And they want to know if you maintain a regular body weight, if you exercise regularly, if you eat fruits and vegetables, and if you are a non-smoker. So according with these different aspects, they will know if you have, you know, a healthy lifestyle that will get you away from the 4 chronic diseases, which is cancer, diabetes, some heart problems, and also autoimmune disease. Right? Oh yeah, I need to do this 1 second. And then if we go to the next, we have the National Institute of Aging, and they also have different questionnaires and different ways to assess your health status. And some of these questions, you know, you can see them there. I may not go with all of them, but they want to see about how much time do you sleep on an average. Or again, we get the exercise, you know, if you have friends and, you know, a close circle, if you have a sense of purpose, and again, if you're a smoker, you know, those sort of things. So with that, if you answer yes to all of the questions that they have, then they can predict if you're going to live until 90 on like an average with a healthy lifestyle. And the more no's that you start getting, the shorter that your lifespan start getting, okay? So next slide. Then we have, I really like this slide. It's, I give credit to Ronan Diego of Oliveira, who created this trunk, but it's based on also another doctor, is a functional medicine doctor, Frank Lipman, where we have the trunk core of dysfunctions is what is called. So as you can see, we have the root causes of a lot of, you know, different disease, and these might be just sleep again, and you know, we can see different things that are related to the lifestyle. So when some of these roots are starting to get, you know, sort of damaged or things like that, we start getting dysfunctions in our body. And so the more dysfunctions that we have, we start creating inflammation, and the inflammation that becomes chronic. So this accumulation of inflammations is what overall becomes, you know, dangerous, because if we have some piece of our DNA or something that is we call it like the weakest link, right? There's a history of diabetes in my family, of cancer, or these things. So your chances are high, right? So this chronic inflammation is going to break this weakest link, and you can have, you know, many different problems. And right now we have a healthcare system that really takes good care of treating a lot of these symptoms and fixing some of the symptoms, so they stay like in the trunk, or managing the diseases from, you know, from the top of the tree, right? We're very good at managing diabetes and some other stuff with treatment, but then it comes the philosophy or the approach of the health coaches, right? And because I know this is sort of new, and maybe some people don't really get like, why health coaches? I mean, we already have doctors, and we have nutritionists, and we have the fitness people and this thing. And so the whole idea behind it is that we started asking, what if instead of focusing on the disease, we kind of focus on what are the ways to obtain health. You know, why not looking at the advantage of the genetic code and try to already see how we can treat these dysfunctions so the body can start repairing? Why not activating nature's way of bringing healing to the body? Okay, next slide, please. And so what is this lifestyle, you know, that supports and protects this body from harm, right? So if we just try to go a little bit back, like 10,000 years ago, or, you know, when we started doing all this agriculture and the Industrial Revolution, we started changing a lot the ways our lifestyle, right? The way we hunted and gathered the food, and also even changing the food altogether. And so all of these changes, they were very abrupt for our DNA to really like catch up, you know, to like kind of go with the technology and the things that we have done. So our bodies sometimes are not, you know, they were not originally developed for that sort of lifestyle. And we also, you know, see that they can be a model of activating the healing within. And so focus more about what are the body needs and what are those things that can protect us from the harm, so we can start getting healed, right? So working on those root causes, on the roots. And this is, you know, a little bit why WILDFIT also comes in, and it's because it is a health program that it tries to transform our relationship with food, right? It's more of like a methodology, a wellness methodology is inspired on this functional medicine, inspired on nutritional anthropology, and all of the things that can support human beings, right, as how they've been developed. And we use some psychology and some food guidelines to create a metabolic reset and align all of our systems, all of our different, you know, internal systems, so we can, you know, balance our weight and also create the healing and the vitality within. So it is not a diet, even though it's very much related to nutrition. It has a lot to do with lifestyle, and it's based on a lot of principles. So I'm using their principles to give you guys some tools, and that's what we're going to go on. So next slide. So basically there are, we consider there are 8 essential needs that no matter if you're vegan, if you are, you know, whatever, pescatarian, you eat meat, you just like junk food, no, it doesn't matter. If you're a human being, there are some essential needs that you need. They're very much linked to these roots and the disease. So next slide. So what are the first one? And actually this is the hierarchy also, which we, you know, believe this thing. So the first thing is air. You know we need oxygen. We cannot go minutes without air. You can go days without food, days without water, but you cannot go minutes without air. So this is really important. And the fresh air also, and not just the air and the quality of the air and all of that, is the way you breathe. Okay, so we are also praised when we were in the wild from like tigers or other animals. Yes, we were hunters, but at the same time we were prey. And so the prey, how do they breathe? They breathe really shallow, so they are not noticed. Okay, so when we do shallow breathing that sometimes we are not even aware of because we're working on our computer or, you know, doing some other stuff. So that breathing can be a little bit dangerous for your health because it's communicating to your body that, you know, that maybe the environment is not, you know, so it can be dangerous, right? Like there can be a threat. And so that start elevating your cortisol levels in your body. So I want to take the time, now that we have a little, to make an exercise with you, ladies. So I'm giving you 2 in this slide, but we're just going to work on one which is the one that we can do any time of the day. The other exercise is more for like the night to help us, lower all that cortisol and like really get into the, sleeping mode. So this one is called the 5-5-5 breathing. It's really easy because you can use your hands, you can use your finger to follow along and also keep count. So the way I like to explain my students is that you use one of your hands to keep count on the breathings, and then with the other hand, you can know how many breaths you've done, like rounds, right, the repeats. So what we're going to do is we're gonna inhale for 5 seconds, right, or 5 counts. Then we're gonna hold for 5. We're gonna exhale for 5. Then we're gonna hold again for 5, and then we will repeat it 5 times. Okay, so let's just do it all together. Okay, let's get ready. Put your, back a little straight. Just sit comfortable, and let's start. Okay, so we're gonna inhale for 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So how do you feeling? You can just show me on the screen if you're feeling okay, sort of sleepy, good, not so good. So as you can see, there are certain people that sometimes it's hard for them to hold for 5 counts. But this is really easy because we would just follow, with our hands. So I wanted to give you guys this tool. And also when we are wanting to communicate to our body that, we're safe, doing this kind of exercising or just taking deep breaths, like I was saying, it's really good because it helps reduce cortisol, and cortisol is very much linked to, weight. Next slide. So the next slide, please. Yeah. The second essential for humans will be water. Okay. We all know we're 70% water in our bodies, but the most important thing is that nowadays we don't really dehydrate, right? Like super dehydration. So water, we want to start really focusing on performance and what to do the hydration for having a healthy and perform well. So what we I want to give you guys on this information is that how to know that we can get dehydrated or that we might heading that way of being a little bit dehydrated. So the first thing that is going to be affected is our mood. So if you start feeling like moody or, sort of tired or weird, try to think, am I taking a lot of water? Like, how is my hydration? Maybe I should take a glass of water. So those are a few keys. And another ways to know that, we have optimized our hydration is the thirst. Because if we are feeling thirsty, that means we have reached dehydration, because that's a sign. So normally that's why if we are constantly taking our water and all of that, we might not feel that need of like the thirst, right? And another important thing is the color of our urine. That tells us a lot. So it should be a little bit, like not transparent, because it will never be transparent, but a very light yellow, okay? So I want to give you also a couple of tools to improve our habit for water intake. So one thing is to have a water bottle with you guys all the time. But I'm not just saying to carry the bottle. Keep one at the office, keep one in your room, keep one in your car, just keep bottled waters and at sight everywhere you are and you go. Then also don't, if some people tell me, it's just, I don't like the taste of water. Okay, then put some infused water, is what we call it. So it's something similar to what you see on the picture. You can add some fruits, you can add some roots, you can add, so it's not to make a tea or to make a fresco, what we call it, but just to give it a little taste, a little flavor. And then also, just the last one, we were talking about hydration, right? And so the key thing for hydration is electrolytes. So try to put a teaspoon of this Himalayan salt or healthy salt or any salt that you have that is rich in minerals. So it's not like that salt that we use for cooking, no. Like good source. And to your water, especially in the first water that you have in the day and the last water that you will have at night. Having that salt will help you retain that water in your body and communicate, and will not want you to make you go pee so much, okay? So that's a good tip. Okay, now next. Then we have the third need, human essential, is sleep. Okay, so as you can see, we are already in the third, we haven't talked about food. So a lot of people think that, oh yeah, like what we need is get rid of sugar. No, there are things that are really essential and they're key for our health. So sleep has everything to do with the quality of your immune system. Okay, sleeping has a double benefit because it will help you reduce that chronic inflammation, and it's also going to help you with your lifestyle needs because you're going to have the energy, you're going to have the growth, the restored, and there are three things very key that you need to focus to master your sleep. So the first thing will be to regulate your circadian rhythm. Or circadian cycle, which is called, is the natural internal process that regulates the sleep, so it will tell, it is the process that tells your body when to sleep and when to wake up. Like if you don't set an alarm, your body will naturally wake up. So that is because of that cycle, okay? And it repeats every 24 hours. So having a regular sleep schedule will, just help you get great impacts in your energy, as I was saying, as digestion also, and also building. So when we sleep is when growth happens. And so if you're somebody who's concerned of getting like more muscle mass and all of that, so more sleep, more growth, okay? And when you lack sleep, you're actually losing muscle mass and increasing fat gain, okay? So the other, sorry, I see that somebody put something on the chat. I'm not seeing the chat.
It was me, Karen, but you can answer later, no worries.
Yeah, later we'll do some questions because it's a lot of information and I wanna give you ladies everything. So then we have the quantity of sleep, right? So for that, we give some strategies also on how to really focus more on the time you go to bed and not so much on the time that you wake up, okay? And then we have the quality. So there are certain things that can make your sleep better, especially like sleeping in a cool room, not so warm. But the most important thing is removing the sleep disruptors. And there are two that get in the way of most of the people. One is not having, having meals too late. So try to have 2 or 3 hours before before going to bed, your last meal. And also turn off your electronic devices. This is very important because that blue light is the same light that we get from the sun. So these devices will be telling your body that is a daytime, is a daylight, and it's gonna mess up all of those processes from that cycle that I was explaining. And so over here, I'm giving you like 5 steps that can help you regulate sleep. I just, you can guys read it while I will tell you something that is sort of important, because I want to go through the other slides. So I know some people get really concerned because they wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. That is completely normal, okay? It's really normal for human beings to wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. When we were in the tribes and, the sleep cycle, they wake up, they eat, they were talking, among themselves, telling stories, whatever, talking about their dreams, then go back to sleep. So one strategy that we give is that if that happens to you, keep a notebook next to your bed. You can take some notes down that what is in your mind. So it's like your mind is feeling that you're taking action on what is going on by writing. And then just be happy that it's 3 a.m. and try to go back to sleep. And you won't lose the rest of the time, okay? And it's also, it's important to be excited about the next day, but not like worry, because this worriness is sometimes what keeps us up. Next slide. And now we come to the juicy part, which is, the next slide, please. The fourth need for humans is energy. And in here, we're talking about nutrient richness. So there are, many nutrients that the body needs, but there are 3 sources of energy. So we have protein, we have carbs, and we have fats. Okay, so these carbs becomes sugar. So sugar is actually a temporary source of energy. Okay, and let's talk now about protein. What are the effects of having the protein deficiency? Well, you will gain weight because proteins really keep you satiated longer and it keeps you long energy. And so if you're not having good proteins, then you're gaining weight because you're eating a lot of other stuff, and mostly the body will try to go for starchy things. Then you have, you will experience low mood. And why is this? Because the neurotransmitters are made out of proteins, okay? And then if you're experiencing hair loss and nail loss, these are both made of proteins. And this is the first place where the body is gonna go and provide the proteins that it needs. So if it's dealing with some disease or something like that, this is one of the effects. People will see, some changes in their hair and their nails, because the body is going and getting energy there to do the healing that it has to do, the repair. Of course, you guys already know a lot about the best animal protein, bases, but I wanted also to talk a little bit about the plant-based, because we have all sorts of, diets sort of nowadays, right? And so there's a lot of people, they're starting to get more plant-based. So for that, you need to be really mindful that you need a lot of amino acids, okay? And so to get these amino acids, you have to mainly have legumes, you have to have some grains, and you have to have a lot of vegetables and seeds all throughout the 24 hours of the day to really cover all of the amino acids. It's possible, but we need to be mindful. So it's not just about having lots of grains and legumes. There's a lot of things we need to have covered. Next slide, please. Then we have the sugar and the indulgent carbs. So what is this correlation between sugar and inflammation? Because before they were not, so clear, but when we eat carbs, our body will turn these carbs into glucose. So this glucose is the sugar, right? That we normally think of sugar, but it's glucose. And this is one of the main sources of fuel. It's really easy fuel for the body to get. So normally, when we can handle 4 grams of glucose in our bloodstream. If the body, we get more than 4 grams, then the body cannot handle that and is going to start producing insulin. The pancreas is going to start producing insulin to handle this extra glucose. This insulin, when it gets in excess, because we're having too much sugar, it's stored to try to store it in our liver and in our muscle and in the fat cells, and then it just becomes too much and there's still some excess sugar, then this insulin with time is going to start getting dysregulated, right? And in this is going to happen what is called insulin resistant, like the cells are become resistant to the insulin. And so the body requires to create more insulin, release more insulin to allow these cells to absorb the sugar. And when we start getting this insulin resistant, it is not only inflammatory, it also can cause diseases like diabetes and much more. And then it just becomes a cascade of events, okay? So we need to be very mindful of these, and just be mindful of the amount of sugar. So what I want you guys to understand is that sugar isn't bad. And it's not that we are, like, oh, you need to get rid of sugar from your diet and things like that. But just be mindful. There are types of sugars and there are types of grains that will become sugar. And so just take an eye on the ones that you need to be mindful, which are the added sugars from the foods that there are more than 60 names. We will see that in the next slide. Then you need to be mindful of the sugary beverage, all of those things that we buy and package that mostly they are a lot of sugar there. And then we talk about the refined grains and the indulgent grains, right? Like, especially if the indulgence is the ones that we really have to take, take good eye of not overdo it throughout the day. And maybe remove them because they're the more harmful for the diet. Next slide. So this is some information we give students and stuff like that. So these are so you guys can see 60 different names of sugar that you can find in labels. Okay, so just you need to be a little bit mindful because sometimes we don't read the labels. And if you start reading, I haven't found so far a single bacon in Costa Rica that doesn't have any of these names. So I have talked to the guy who makes meat, the meat market, and they cannot also get it because the Senasa and some other institutes, they don't allow them to make them, so they have to import it. Anyway, so next we go to the fats. So not all fats are good for us, right? So mainly the issue with the fats is the balance of the omegas, okay? So when we don't have a balance between the 3 and the 6 is when we start creating inflammation, and this again is going to weaken our immune system. And where do we find this imbalance for the oils? They're especially on cooking, dips and all of these mayonnaise and canned soups and some vegan products. And, when we go out to restaurants and all of these things. So I wanted to send I'll send you soon, a link so you guys can see how the process of canola is done. When we manufacture some of these oils, the problem is that we're removing a lot of the vitamins and the fibers, and they're adding a lot another different compounds that the body doesn't recognize. And sometimes the body will see this as a threat and is going to try to fight it, right? And another reason also is because there can be an accumulation of polyunsaturated fats, right? And those are the ones who are creating that imbalance with the omegas. Okay, And that leads to the whole inflammation, and it's a cascade of problems. And the problem is that these fat cells, right, they're full of these omega-6, and so it's like putting light on a gasoline on a fire. So that's the problem. Where can we find those vegetables oils? There are 9 that we want you guys to be aware of: canola, cottonseed, corn, soybean, sunflower, safflower, rapeseed, rice bran, and palm. Okay, so you have those names there. They are the ones that you have to be more aware of. And what is more damaging than the oils are the trans fats. Okay, so trans fat are pretty much on all of these foods that you can see there: snacks, ready to eat food, even healthy foods, like they are labeled healthy, but they can have some trans fats. So just be aware of reading the labels. So what do we recommend for cooking? Olive oil, coconut oil, avocado, flax or hemp seed. All of those are, they can handle, especially coconut and avocado can handle really high temperatures in case you want to fry something. But all of these other oils are really healthy because most of them are high in monounsaturated fats. And also, like coconut, it has saturated fats, but there are good sources that the body really likes and the brain feeds from that. Next slide. And then we also have to be mindful about the other one, the previous fats, also from grain fed animals. So here is the explanation. Like I say, if you ladies want to have the PowerPoint, I can email you later. But those are the things that we need to be aware of. But because whatever our animals they're being fed, then those things we're also gonna get to us. And some of the monogastric animals, they're tied to the omega-6s, and the ones that are ruminants, they have more of one stomach, like the cows and all of that. They are being fed with a lot of grains that are not very good quality, and all of that also can be harmful. So I'm just gonna paste here on the chat these 2 links in case you ladies want to geek out like me. And there is some YouTube video of how is the process of making canola oil, which is the most common oil used all over the world. And then there is also some list about the good fats and bad fats, that is a good reference. Okay, now next slide. Now we're coming to the 5th essential of every human, which is movement. Okay, humans are walking machines. Until recently is that we stopped walking because we didn't have to look for our food very far. We have the agriculture, we have the markets and all that stuff. So we have reduced our walking, but we are built to walk a lot. And so movement is really important because it cleans and mobilizes the fluid from our lymph nodes. Our heart has a pump. It becomes a pump from the circulatory system. We have the diaphragm in the lungs that is like a pump for the air, the oxygen, the respiratory system. The lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. The way we can mobilize those fluids is by moving. And so, there is some different benefits of walking that I wrote down here. You guys can see. So walking is like a brain fertilizer. We produce this neurochemical called brain-derived neurotropic factor. And so that is why, walking is so good, because we really need to, think a lot. And so walking helps with our brain functions. And how much should I walk? Well, around 7,000 to 9,000 steps is what we say, you know, throughout the day. It doesn't have to be necessary at one go. It's better to like spread it out, okay? And we, now I want to talk about sitting, because when we are not walking, usually we're sitting. And as long as you're sitting, all of the energy that was supposed to go to your legs is not longer needed. And so these big muscle, these legs, you know, they are used to help you process the blood sugar. And because you're not using them, they're sitting there. And so once you're sitting, your body decreases that release of an enzyme called lipoprotein, lipase. And this is the one that helps you, you know, this protein is crucial for breaking down that fat into energy. And so the longer you're sitting, the more this is reducing. So 1 hour after you're sitting down, the whole body metabolism drops down by 90%. 2 hours of being sitting, your good cholesterol drops for 20%. So there is a study in the University of Texas that shows that students who sit for the entire day don't get any metabolic benefits from an hour of physical exercise right after. So what does this mean? That's what we were saying. It's like you can be sitting all day and then you take an hour to go and do an exercise, you don't get any benefits. You need to really break your sedentary state at least every 1 hour or so. So we give tips, you know, like setting up alarms, or can you go to the next slide? So how can I make the most out of my walking habit, right? Like how to be like, or me getting into a walking habit. So the majority of the phones, they have a built-in step measurements. So that's the way you can know how many steps you've done, or there are apps and things like that. Then some of these walking from the entire day, if you can take 30 minutes out to make it in a higher pace that it can increase your heart rate, that will get all of the benefits. And also you can try different ways of making a goal and make it fun. You know, there are lots of apps that you get rewards, you get points, you can, you know, compete among other people and things like that. And then you can also, if you have a morning routine, you can start adding some walking into that routine. Or also you can, whenever you get a phone call, you can try to start, you know, taking calls walking. That's another way. And another one that is a good advice is after you take a meal, if you take a 10-minute walk, it not only helps you with your brain functions and all that, it helps you with the digestion, okay? And then some people ask me, can I do stretches or yoga or some other things instead of walking? I mean, those things are great. And, you know, there are many benefits, but they don't have the same benefits for the brain as walking. And some scientists, they suspect that this is because of the increase of the heart rate that has a crucial role in getting these benefits. Okay, so next slide. Now we're reaching the 6th essential for humans, which is sunlight. And it's reported that 94% of the people nowadays are not getting enough sun. And they have reduced all of their vitamin D levels. Okay, so sun is really important. If you have light skin, you're actually gonna get some easier. So it's not about going out and burn and, you know, just like lay there like a lizard in the sun. That's why you also have to be careful a little bit about the 10 to 2 p.m. But you do need to take sun. And don't put a lot of sunscreen and all of that, because it's going to block the pores from your skin, and your skin also, it's like another mouth, let's say, but take some sun. And you don't have also to have direct sun. I know now that Andrea is in Canada, and people who live in, you know, other more cloudy places, just by going outside and getting that natural light. So you don't need to like really feel the sun on your skin, but get natural light. It helps a lot also with the circadian rhythm. And so the sunglasses also, we kind of want that direct light in our eyes a little bit for that circadian rhythm. Okay, so next slide. We're almost over, ladies. We are getting into the non-energy nutrients. Okay, so we talked about the energy nutrients before, which are the micronutrients, carbohydrates, fats, proteins. But now we're talking about more of the micronutrients, which is fiber, vitamins, and minerals, or trace minerals, or phytonutrients also, as it's called. Where is the best source of these nutrients? Whole foods, okay? Because in whole foods you get both. So it's like 2 in 1, right? And this is good because it's gonna give you a more fulfilling nutrition, right? It's gonna cover, especially if you're doing plant-based or you wanna be vegan or vegetarian, you know, so it will help you not to get any deficiencies. So focus on these. And also, you know, they can help us when we're trying to get rid of more inflammatory foods, as we were talking before, so we can feel more satiated, right, if we have some of these things. When the agricultural revolution made humans explore more about the refinement and the taste of food and all that, but it also created, you know, some difficulties for our body to really absorb and process a lot of the things that they're adding, because some of these things the body doesn't really recognize. So yes, we might have this bracket thing that is fortified with this thing and acid, folic acid and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So because it's been added, it doesn't necessarily mean that the body will recognize it and know how to process it. And don't always eat the same food. Try to, you know, be like cycling. The more variety of products that you eat, the more amino acids you're getting, and also the more variety of microbiome you're creating in your gut. And you're handling better diseases and all that stuff. So there is one key element from that I want to leave you guys with, is focus on getting more of the good stuff, these whole foods that we're talking about, and not so much on getting rid of the bad stuff. Oh, I have to get rid of sugar and get rid of fats and all this stuff. Focus on getting good stuff, get good quality whole foods. Okay, next slide. And then we're almost done. Deep connection. Okay, so maybe this is not a physical essential need, but it's one of the key needs. And we saw that on the CDC and the NIA, you know, questions that we had, because humans, we're social animals, right? And that helps boost our immune system, our self-confidence. And when we were living in tribes, if you were left out of the tribe, that meant death, meant that you were gonna be, you know, that. So that's why it's key for us to have this connection with the people. So some ideas, get some long hugs. I know we're dealing with the whole pandemic and all of that, but touching is important, you know, holding hands with the people that you're around, touching the hair, you know, like the monkeys and all that stuff. This is important for our, you know, our body. And also syncing with nature. The physical body is in need of its environment, right? We talk about the sunlight. Gravity, you know, holds a lot of importance. And so don't forget about nature. And also that inner stillness, because it helps us work on that sense of purpose, right? When we start meditating and we start, you know, being more in touch with ourselves, it helps us figure out that sense of purpose that we also saw that it was important in our longevity. And also it will start making us wanting to take care of ourselves a little more, and also others. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, let's take a deep breath, also myself. I know this is been a lot of information, but I really wanted to give you guys, some useful things. So now I want us to do an exercise all together. I'm gonna guide you guys and just to help you get in touch with your inner wisdom. We all sort of like this information that I told you guys, we already know most of all of these things, right? And we also have this inner knowing that might tell you, what are the needs that you need in regards of what I have discussed. So I want you ladies to take a deep breath, close your eyes, take another deep breath, and then breathe it out slowly. And then ask yourself, ask your body, like, what is it that you need in order to be healed, to heal right now? Like, what is your body telling you that you need? Sort of make some mental notes and just sink in on what is it that is coming out for you. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes. Oh, 7 seconds. Okay. Now, from which of the 8 essential needs that we just discussed, your answer falls into? Try to determine. And where do you think, like, no, go back. Where do you want to start your journey? So we're going to go into the questions and all that, but I want to see if somebody wants to share what you just experienced, like, with this exercise. Like, what do you feel that you need to start doing? Anybody? Ana Guerrero says movement. Okay. Great. Okay. Gloriana. Sorry, Helen.
I got just peace, and more vegetables wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Because I stopped taking my green drink and I feel better when I make it.
Amazing. Great. And Gloriana?
No, I'm just gonna say that I feel and I know I need water. And I get cranky and moody. So, and that's how after deep breathing, I kind of felt that. So, and I need more sun as well. So it kind of made me aware of how beautiful it is here. And like you were saying before, we're lucky that we're in Costa Rica right now. We just don't enjoy the sun outside. So it kind of woke me up. So being aware that I need more of the essentials in this earth, water and sun.
As well about the salt in the water that Karen was talking about.
Yes, thank you. I was just asking because it wasn't clear, or I didn't listen well when you said about putting water in salt in the water. It will make you go to the bathroom more at night, or it will make
less. It will help you because the salt is going to work as an electrolyte. So it's going to help move the messages, and it becomes like the cables from the house, right? So it's not going to get rid of from the body as easily. So it will not make you go to the bathroom as much. And it doesn't have to taste salty, right? The water is going to have a little bit of different taste, but don't have to put too much that it tastes salty. So for 1 liter, a tablespoon is more than enough. Does anybody has any other questions? Yes, Helen.
Since you know so much about health, I was wondering, is rye a member of the wheat family? Because I'm allergic to wheat.
Rye?
Rye, yeah.
Yeah, rye, it has, it has, gluten. Yes. So rye does have gluten. And so people who has gluten sensitivities, it can, get into that. But if you're allergic, that is a difference from allergic to being allergic to being sensitive. So do you feel like an
I'm
allergy?
allergic to wheat, but not to other things. It's not the gluten,
Okay, so it's not the gluten.
from what I understand. So
Mhm.
I just want to know whether rye was a member of the wheat family or it's a separate grain.
It's a separate. It is separate.
Oh,
but
thank God.
Yeah. But what I will recommend, because you already have an allergy, so that's like something more strong than a sensitivity, it's to be mindful of the other ones from the family of the glutens, so they don't react and get you this allergy, because the immune system is gonna get active, right? And so the problem is that when we keep stimulating, it's like poking, right? Like we're poking the immune system and it's stimulating, then one day it's gonna get just like crazy, right? And we can get some inflammation and some problems. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Would it be possible to make your written presentation available for us to print off, because it's really valuable information to keep around?
I actually, in the next slide, I'm going to ask all of you to send me in the chat your email, your name and email, so I can give you guys the gift that I have for you. Yeah, go ahead. So I am giving you guys a free, it's like a gift card, let's say, because I'm gonna send it on the email. The 14-day reset, which is like the first 14 days from the WILDFIT challenge, so you guys can experience it. And also it is a lot focused on the psychology around food. Okay, and also we talk a lot about these essentials and different things, so it is really good. In case you guys don't want to use it yourselves, you can pass it on to any friends or family, that's fine. But I will need your names and emails so I can send it to you. And then if you want, in that email, I can attach the PDF of the presentation. So, or my information is in the next slide, so you can also write to me if you just only want the presentation. But so I just wanted to let you know that for the PWNCR members, I have a 70% discount that you can get only through me, because there are other coaches and you can get WILDFIT from different sources. But if you do it through me, then you get a 70% discount. Then again, I can pass it on to your relatives and friends. And yeah, so the next slide. So these are my details. And also, if you guys don't want to do the program, but you want to have a session with me and try to get into the root causes, and how to deal with all these, different. Can you go to the next slide, Andre? To really strengthen the roots of your trunk so you don't get into those diseases, then we can have a talk about that. And so here are my details, and thank you so much for listening to me. And I made it in time. I was so worried.
Great job, Karen. I feel like I really learned a lot over the last hour.
I'm glad. That was my purpose. I wanted you guys to, I didn't want it to have like, I know we're networking and we're professionals and we want to promote our services and all that, but I really wanted to give you guys a gift. I wanted to give you guys some tips, some valuable information, and, leaving you guys also with this inner wisdom of like, okay, there might be some things you need to do. And again, this is not information we don't know, and it's everywhere, right? There's blogs, there's books, there's many things, but sometimes, we need a reminder. And also sometimes we might need a help from a coach that help us identify those blocks, right? So we can break those patterns that are holding us back. because we deep down know what we need to do, but sometimes we just don't know how to really take on those, you know, steps. So that's what we are here for.
And I think
It's very hard to get started.
Mm-hmm.
You educated us, and you told us about your product and promoted your product. And the PWNCR is about both, right? Like, it's about women who are involved being educated about certain things, and it's also about you being able to promote yourself. And for us, when we run into people and talk to other people, to help promote you as well. So I feel like you did a really great job on that, Karen.
Thank you.
Yeah. Karen, before we let everyone go here, would you be able to tell us about maybe some of the potential things that are happening?
Yeah, so we are working on the January event. It's not confirmed like completely, but just to give you guys a hint, we are working on getting Sarah Bosley, who is going to talk about the New Year, New You, and that will be tentative for January 15th.
What a great way to start the year and get motivated and inspired.
Yeah, and then we have for February 19, we're thinking of doing an open house at Teen Hall, but like again, we're finalizing all of the details. And then for March 19, we want to have Flora Monte Alegre of RSU, I don't know how to say that, that is going to talk about the pymes in Costa Rica. So yeah, we're working on next year's schedule, so it's going to be fun.